It's a bad time, this time of year.
How many times is he gonna tell this story?
Oh, let him tell it. I love fairy tales.
This ain't no fairy tale, little girl. If you don't take it seriously, you're a fool!
The first Valentine's dance in 20 years has to be something special.
Oh, Flanders, you gotta get a lot of exercise if you're gonna grapple with Gretchen.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got a Valentine for her that she's never gonna forget. Right to the heart, huh?
In this town on Valentine's Day, everybody loses their heart.
Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you.
It can't be happening again.
No!
It can't be happening again.
What's going on over in Valentine Bluffs? It looks like Harry Warden's back in town.
It happened once. It happened twice. Cancel the dance or it'll happen twice.
In the town of Valentine Bluffs, there are many ways to die. Take your pick. My Bloody Valentine.
Welcome to Slash, a horror movie podcast. In this bonus Valentine's Day episode, we discuss the 1981 slasher classic, My Bloody Valentine. So please, after a romantic dinner with your loved one, sit back, open up a bottle of wine, and enjoy the show. Because remember, it's fun to be scared. Happy Valentine's Day, lovers, and welcome to a surprise episode of Slash, a horror movie podcast. And what is more horrific, more frightening, more scary than Valentine's Day? Yes, yes, yes. I thought it would be perfect to jump right in the middle of Halloween to give you a special bonus episode that is unrelated to any franchise except for the remake, where I'm talking about a movie specific for today, Valentine's Day, going all the way back to 1981 to see this Canadian horror classic, I think. My Bloody Valentine from 1981. It is a movie that I swear I thought I saw
as a kid. I remember the video box. I remember a dude in a miner's like mask and a pickaxe. But I don't think I've ever seen this movie until I finally watched it today for the first time. There was like one scene where I said, wait, that looks familiar. It was like one kid plays a prank on some people. But other than that, and that might have been just me thinking of a different horror movie that has lots of pranks in it. I'm almost positive that I've never seen this movie before, which is crazy. And going into it, I did not know what to expect. And coming out of it, I think I love this movie. I think it's got everything that I want in a slasher movie. And what I really liked about it is the fact that there was a little bit of a mystery to it. A mystery that, looking back, maybe wasn't all that mysterious, but it was still, it was still making me think, could it be this guy? Could it be that guy? Why would it be this guy? How could it not be that guy? No, it can't be this guy. So it had me guessing throughout the movie. And, that was fun because I did not know how it was going to end. And I just didn't know what to expect. And along the way, you got a lot of the tropes that you think of, young people getting horned up, then getting killed. You got authority figures, not undermining the society, but trying to brush it under the rug, while trying to figure things out. Not that smart, but not hateable. And yet sometimes you think, wait a minute, why are they brushing it under the rug? Wait a minute. Could they be in two places at once? And we got a movie that was just unabashedly Canadian. I mean, sometimes you see movies and you go, oh, that was made in Canada. I did not know that. Like I didn't know Porky's was a Canadian movie growing up. There was I didn't know that there was other movies that came out that I was like, oh, that was like, what's the difference? To me, growing up, I didn't really know any difference between America and Canada, except some parts of it, they speak French, other parts they don't. But then I watched this movie and it wasn't anything with the style. It was, to me at least, it was just, sometimes they'll film in Canada, but they won't say they're in Canada. Maybe they want you to think they're in New York or in, Washington State. I remember, was it Orphan Black that was a BBC American show filmed in Canada, but they never showed anywhere of where they actually were. They never talked about it. I think it could be just my brain misremembering. But with My Bloody Valentine, there were some strong Canadian accents, and I loved them because they weren't trying to be like, no, we're an American movie. They're just, we're making a movie. We're in Canada. This is how we sound. And I love, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, this is a foreign movie kind of everyone, are they speaking English? I don't understand what they're saying. No. It was just certain words, certain turns of phrase that you could say, oh, I see that Canadian accent coming out there. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. And, the police even had patches in the wall that said auto and everything. It's all right, it's not pretending it's something it isn't. It just happens to be a movie made in Canada. And I don't know anybody who made it. Director George Mihalka, no idea. Screenplay by John Baird, story by Stephen Miller, not from the Steve Miller Band. So I don't know any of these people. I didn't recognize any actors in this movie. They had one actor was special appearance by, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Then I looked up and he was on Mr. Rogers. So I don't know if every actor was Canadian. I didn't do that much research. I just knew that I wanted to watch this movie and have it out for you today on Valentine's Day. And spoiler alert, it's actually February 13th. So I didn't do this far, in advance of tomorrow. I did it hours away from tomorrow. But I still wanted to bring it to you. Now, this movie was released in 1981, so it's 42 years old, based on math. And in fact, it was released on February 11th, 1981, just in time for Valentine's Day, which apparently is a holiday in Canada as well. See, you learn something new every single day. Now, it had a running time of 93 minutes, so it's a short, 90-minute movie. It's not that short. I've done a lot shorter already this year with this podcast. But it kind of does fall into the, I looked at the half-hour point for that plot point number 1, at the hour point for that plot point number 2, and I feel like it kind of works with this. Like, it follows a good pattern of, I don't want to say formula, but it just follows the structure of a good 90-minute film, where something big happens at 30, something big happens at 60. It had a budget of $2.3 million, and again, $2.3 million. This is on Wikipedia. Is that US dollars, Canadian dollars? I don't know. It had a box office of $5.7 million US. And again, I don't understand conversion rates. Does that mean it made more? It made less? I don't know. The fact is, I thought I was going to see something where there was, My Bloody Valentine sequels, but all I saw was the remake that came out in 2009, which I never saw. So there was nothing in that would have brought this. And I'm just looking up really quick. I wanted to look up My Bloody Valentines 2. George Mihalka reveals the unmade sequel. And it was going to be called Valentine Wakes. Oh, wait. He joined us to discuss not only his unmade My Bloody Valentine 2, but also his currently in the works follow-up Valentine Wakes, which would see the original film's cast of characters returning to face off now that's from 2022. Could this be happening? Now, I looked up, a lot of the actors are no longer with us, but it would be interesting to see if maybe this isn't the ending for my Bloody Valentine journey. Maybe it's just the beginning. There was something called The Return of the Miner, a long-planned sequel to the director's classic, which went unproduced after years of development. So it was possible that it was going to happen. I'm not the only one out there that thought, well, this is ripe for a sequel, especially, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you've seen this movie, you know how it ends. And I didn't know until seeing it today, but that's like, they're kind of setting things up for more to happen, but nothing really happened. So I like to go to, before I talk about the movie directly, I like to go to Wikipedia and go to that development section on a page and just kind of read. I call it Slashopedia. And this one is only 2 paragraphs. The last time, I think I just rambled on too long, and I thought, this is nothing going on here. It says, director George Mihalka, on the strength of his earlier movie, Pick Up Summer, was approached by Cinepix Pictures, headed by Andre Link and John Dunning, with a 2-movie contract. Hey, kid, we want you to sign a 2-movie contract. One of them had a cigar, and he was chomping on it. Mihalka was asked to direct a horror slasher story presented to Dunning by Stephen Miller in mid-1980. And after Mihalka agreed to direct, John Beard was brought in to write the screenplay. The film was originally entitled The Secret, which is a terrible title. However, the producers decided to change it to My Bloody Valentine so to overtly reference the holiday serial killer trend. I mean, think about it. We had 74, Black Christmas. We had 78, Halloween. We had 1980, Friday the 13th, which that's not a holiday. What I'm looking forward to with Friday the 13th is discovering, was Friday the 13th something scary? Was that something known before the movie Friday the 13th? Or was it just because the number 13 was scary and Friday the 13th sounded cool? I have no idea. I'm not going to look it up. I don't want to know until I get there. And then it says, at the time, the slasher subgenre had seen further commercial success with releases of Prom Night and Terror Train. Well, Prom Night, again, Black Christmas is an event. Halloween is an event. Prom Night is an event. Terror Train is just a passenger vehicle. Didn't both those have Jamie Lee Curtis? But you see that, after Halloween comes out, there are plenty of movies that, we had April Fool's Day. We had something with my birthday, my special birthday or something like that. We had My Bloody Valentine. I feel like there were other ones, but I don't remember. But this was one, again, that I just remember from the video store. But apparently, after watching this movie, I'm realizing I have never, ever seen it. But now I have. The first thing that threw me was right at the beginning, we see Paramount Pictures. And I would have sworn this would be a really, like I said, Cinepix. Maybe Paramount distributed it in the United States. I'm not sure. I watched this on HBO Max. It wasn't rented. It wasn't pirated. It wasn't some cheap version that, found somewhere. This is on HBO Max right now as we speak. You can go watch this. And it kicks off right away with these coal miners. I had no idea if it took place in mines. I didn't know a thing. These coal miners are walking along in gas masks. And, and I see there's an actor in the movie named Neil Affleck. No relation to any Affleck that you and I may know of. But here's the funny thing. It's a special guest appearance. Don Franks as Chief Newbie. I'm like, who the hell's Don Franks and why is he a special appearance? But he was Mr. Anybody on the Mr. Rogers program. And he was also a big-time voice actor. But again, I don't see anything there that makes me think special guest appearance. I didn't know this guy at all. And I'm not sure if he's wearing a wig. If he's not wearing a wig, he has a stunning head of hair. And if he is wearing a wig, I want that wig. So we see two people in the gas mask. We don't know what they're down there working. They're actually down there to have sexual relations together, which seems very romantic. But the dude wants to leave his mask on the entire time. And he looks like one of the guitarists from Ghosts. Cool kids will get that reference. Now, he sees the heart tattoo on this girl. This girl starts to get naked. I don't think she actually gets naked. She's just in her skivvies. We see a little heart tattoo, and it seems to freak him out. So he kills her, and it was very campy because she's like, ah, and he kills her. But we don't know who he is. So that, I guess, is the mystery. My question is, why did he leave his mask on if he's going to kill this girl? She knew, and it's only for us, because she obviously knows who he is. She's not going down there with some guy she doesn't know. She's probably thinking, ooh, you're kinky, Mr. Killer, even though she doesn't know he's a killer. And everything's fine, but then he sees that heart tattoo, and he's like, oh, Valentine's Day, I hate you. Stab. And boom. Body count, kill count, number 1, our first kill. Then we see it's February 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day. Dun, dun, dun. There are more miners there, and I wrote down that some of them have the Canadianest accents I've ever heard. Again, but I love them. I don't know. It just reminds me of, I don't know what it reminds me of. Just, I love that accent. It also kind of has that Midwestern accent that you've heard like in, I feel like Fargo is sort of has that same type of accent. I don't know, but these miners all seem to be friends, all seem to have fun, and they love having towel snapping in the showers as they clean off. But you see two of them have a little bit of a problem because apparently this one fella, TJ, left for a while, and while he was gone, this other fella, Axel, started dating TJ's girl. And he's like, hey, there's nothing I can do about it. But you can see there's some sort of conflict there between the two of them. So they all race out of there. They all work at Hanniger Mining Company. They race out of there in all their cars. They have a bunch of cars. Some run better than others, but they're driving out of there like crazy. There's bluegrass music playing on a banjo. I mean, this feels like I'm watching a sex comedy or I'm watching a Hal Needham movie. I don't know. It's just, there's some fun to these guys and fun to the music and some lightheartedness. And what I love is this movie is set at Valentine's Day. The title is My Bloody Valentine. And the town they live in is Valentine Bluff, the little town with a big heart. And they're all excited for the big Valentine's Day party. Like all of them. It seems like all of them have girlfriends except maybe one guy. And they're just like, yeah, the big Valentine's Day party's coming. Now, these aren't high school kids. In fact, I don't think we see any high school kids in this movie. These are all 20-somethings. But they're not college kids. They all work in the mine. It feels like this is a mining town where just about everyone who works there works in the mine or dates someone who works in the mine. And everything is Valentine. The radio station there is QPID. I mean, there's a lot going on. So it's the first Valentine's dance in 20 years. And the mayor is talking to this woman, Mabel. He's like, maybe we shouldn't, we should play down the fact that it's, been 20 years since the last Valentine's dance. So you're like, there's something going on here that they're trying to hide. I wonder what it is, and I don't know why I sound like Dracula now. So when they're bringing all these, I think they're bringing Valentine's decorations into this room, this club, whatever. That's when we see one of the guys with like all this blood on his face, but it's fake blood, and that's the pranky place to scare the old lady Mabel, who just laughs at him after almost having a heart attack. That's the thing that I thought, that seems familiar, but I might be thinking of Tully. Is that his name? Telly on Friday the 13th 3, or I might be thinking of April Fool's Day. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but something about that, it seemed familiar. So one of the kids is like, "Oh, Mr. Mayor, I forgot. There's a heart here for you. There's not a heart. Well, there is. There's something for you." And he gives him a box of candy in the shape of a heart. And the cop, the mayor, I think he's with the cop, and he's in the car with him. For some reason, they're hanging out together. He opens up the box, and it says there's a warning, and inside the box is a human heart. Dun dun dun. Probably that girl from the mine. And the mayor's like, "Oh no, it can't be happening again. It can't be happening again." You realize, whatever's happening is happening again. And it's probably something from 20 years ago. But what is it exactly? Well, luckily, we have a bartender there to tell everyone what happened 20 years ago. So all these, these people are in their 20s because they're hanging, or they're at least 18. Because if I remember correctly, we went to Canada because you could drink at 18. See? So, okay, they're at least 18, 19, probably in their 20s. They look like they're in their 40s. So we see them at the bar, and the bartender, he might as well be the guy right out of Friday the 13th telling them, "You're all doomed." But he's there, and he's like, while they're there, we see two guys playing with that knife game, that thing where I think it was from Alien, where you take the knife and you slap it in between your fingers. One of them cuts himself, and he's like, "Ooh," and he just kind of laughs it off. Interesting, the person who laughs it off and, doesn't mind the blood. So the bartender's like, he doesn't think they should be having a dance. He doesn't think they should be having a dance because of what happened 20 years ago, the night of the last dance. They had a dance there. It was the tradition for over 100 years. Of course, Valentine Bluff had the big Valentine's Day dance for over 100 years. Except at that night, everyone in town was there except for 7 miners. Then there was an explosion in the mine, and 5 men were buried alive, while people still partied. I guess 2 of the foremen left without checking for the gas, and 5 men exploded. But 1 man was found alive. His name, Harry Warden. And it showed him eating the other men, so he must have eaten them all to survive. So he was plump, and he was fine. And he escaped, I guess, because 1 year later, he came back and killed the 2 supervisors who left them behind. He cut out their hearts. He put them in candy boxes with a warning, "Never hold a Valentine's dance again." And every year, the bartender said, Harry comes back, waiting to kill. He right out of Friday the 13th, just that "you're doomed" guy. He says he brings his pickaxe, waiting to kill someone. But the young people just laugh at him. Of course, they dismiss him. They call it a stupid legend. But I love that. I don't even know if it's later on. The bartender says some great stuff, and he might have been my favorite character. So we find out that the guy who used to date. Okay, I wrote down. So the guy who used to date this girl, it wasn't the girl that got killed, doesn't like that she has a new boyfriend. They're dating their co-worker boyfriend. So TJ is a guy who went off to the West Coast for a while to make it there on his own. But the father's like, "When you're back here, you're working in the mine." And he doesn't like that Axel is now dating his girlfriend, Sarah. And for some reason, he's wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers staff t-shirt. So either he went out west to work for the Pittsburgh Steelers and realized, wait, the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't out west and they're down in America. And that's why he failed. Or that shirt was just something he found or he bought at a thrift store. So the sheriff and the mayor, remember, there's killings going on. They go to have the heart checked out. And the coroner's like, yes, that's a heart and it's human and it's about 30. And they're trying to figure out if Harry Warden's back. And the coroner's like, oh my God, Harry Warden, the killer? I thought he was sent away. He was, but they can't, they're not sure. I thought he died. But the coroner's like, well, he must be back then. So we cut over to Mabel. Remember the woman who was scared by the guys and who was hanging out with the mayor and all that stuff? Well, she runs a laundromat. And she's in there, doing her laundry. Or doing other people's laundry, I guess. And we see the classic killer point of view shot. We see the hand push the door open, put a heart-shaped box, and back away. And she opens it and she reads, this guy doesn't have the best poems, but they rhyme. Roses are red, violets are blue, one is dead, and so are you. And then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere, right behind her, and she's putting up a fight. She's like, get away. No, get away. Like they really prolong it, which made Mabel more humanistic, personable, gave her some humanity and made it a little more brutal because it wasn't just a boom kill. It was her putting up a fight, which made it a little scarier, a little more disturbing. But she's dead. Body count number 2. I mean, we see we don't actually see it happen, but maybe we do. She's dead. So these dudes, they work in the mine, they hang out at the bar, and then they go to a junkyard to hang out, I guess. The 2 guys who aren't with the who have the same girl, one of the new guys dating her, they're playing harmonica together. And I swear to God that one of the guy was playing harmonica, it sounded just like the harmonica at the beginning of Jaws. And I want to look it up. My Bloody Valentine trivia, IMDb. I'm going to look it up right now because you know what? It's my podcast. And I'm going to say harmonica, Jaws, nothing. But I swear the My Bloody Valentine harmonica, Jaws. Like no one else says, I swear, I was like, that sounds like the same when right before Chrissy goes swimming. So anyway, one of them was playing a harmonica. Then the other guy takes out his harmonica, and you realize, are they in like a harmonica band? Are they in a club? And they're harmonizing a little bit, and you could see they're trying to get along. Like, what are we going to do about this? And he goes like, I guess we got ourselves a problem. Sarah's going with me now, and TJ's like, I ain't gonna back off. And he says, you left. We don't know where he left. We don't know why he left. It's never, ever explained, which gives you a little mystery. Maybe he's got something going on. Maybe something is wrong with him and he's the evil killing man. But I don't know. I'm going to try to adjust my camera. There. I don't know if that made any difference. But TJ's like, I'm not going to give up without a fight. And like, guys, here's a thought. If the girl's dating Axel, then she wants to date Axel. Let her decide, So now that's the end of that day, and we get to Friday the 13th, February 13th, which is technically today when I'm recording this. The cops are calling over to, I guess, the hospital or the prison that Harry Warden was in, psychiatric hospital, and the woman there finds no records of him, which is like, huh? What? She's like, listen, I got no records of him. Either he's transferred, released, or on a slab dead. Okay? She's like, I've checked everything except for the microfilm, and that'll take a couple days. And I said, there's your answer right there. They're going to find out something in a couple days, which is going to clarify what's going on here. Now, we find out about it like with 30 seconds left in the movie, and it's already like, oh, well, we know that. If they revealed it 5 minutes earlier, they would have been like, what? Something's going on. I think that was a mistake. I'm just going to say, I think it would have been better to reveal it to us earlier, to be like, wait a minute, it's not this. You've seen the movie. It's not Harry Warden. Then who is it? Even though most of the time I'm saying there's no way this is Harry Warden. There's someone else doing this, right? And the mayor's like, maybe we ought to cancel the dance. And they're like, no, they haven't done it yet. They haven't canceled anything yet. We see the girls, Sarah and Patty, and they're talking about, going to the big party, the dance. And Sarah's like, maybe I shouldn't even go. And Patty's like, you have to go. I want you to see my dress. It cuts down here and it cuts up there. And I was like, you know what? When the dance actually happened, it was not even close to as risque as she had seemed to describe it. But Sarah was giggling, so it seems like she will go to the dance or the party with them. But the sheriff goes to Mabel's laundromat just to check on her, I guess. And he can't find her, but he smells something. Something smells weird. And then he sees a upside down heart on a washing machine. Now, I don't know if an upside down heart means something, but he looks at it like, oh my God, what is this? Then he finds another upside down heart. Then another. These decorations. And he's like, what's that smell? And he opens up a dryer and it's all these clothes in there. And he's like, what's that? He smells it. And then another dryer plops open and Mabel's burnt corpse just falls out halfway. And he's like, oh my goodness. I don't think he screams. He's just like, what? And, now we know for sure that she is dead. We cut back to the mine for a moment just to see the guys almost fighting over Sarah. And some foreman comes over. He's like, you're not fighting in here about her. Cut back to Mabel's. And the mayor's like, look, we need to call the sheriff. We need to call another town in. And the sheriff's like, no. We got to keep this quiet. Now, it's a classic trope, but then I'm thinking, is the sheriff hiding something? Later on, I'm thinking, could the mayor be behind all of this? But right there, he's saying we got to bring another town in. So that should eliminate the mayor from any of my suspicion. But he's like, listen, we can't tell anybody what's going on here. There's going to be a panic in this town, okay? With all that stuff, with everything going on. And he tells the paramedics, you listen to me. She died of a heart attack, okay? And it's like, well, okay, technically, she did die of a heart attack because a man attacked her heart and then removed it. And they look into the cavity. The sheriff's like, wait a second, let me look at something real quick. And he puts his hand into the cavity, and there's a little card there, a nice little card, a little Valentine, right where her heart used to be. And the Valentine said, it happened once. It happened twice. Cancel the dance, or it will happen thrice. Again, like I don't think he'd be a published poet, but I love the use of thrice. There's never a wrong time to use that word. And the mayor's like, yeah, that's it. The dance is canceled. We need to pull down every decoration and lock up Union Hall. And finally the sheriff's like, yeah, you know what? You're probably right. So the sheriff tells the young people, and there's a bunch of young people. I mean, this town is filled with just 20-somethings that all are minors and girls dating minors, because you'll find out later girls can't be minors. And that is actually a thing. They say that later. But the sheriff tells the young people there's no dance, no parties in light of Mabel's death. They're like, we're doing this to, that's why we're canceling it, because it would be wrong after Mabel died of that heart attack. And this is the point. Some of the kids are like, Mabel would like us to do this. He's like, nope, sorry, no dance, no parties either. No parties. I don't want to hear anybody having a party. And there we are. We're at the 30-minute mark, what I call plot point 1. The dance is canceled. So after work, this guy, Axel and TJ is like, we got something to settle. And Axel's like, you bet we do. But instead of like getting in a fight, he takes off, goes to the store where I'm guessing this is where Sarah works. And then I have to say, he's a little too forceful the way he coerces her into the car. He's like, come on. She's like, I don't want to go. And he's like, come on. Takes her head, shoves it into the car. A little aggressive, but she's smiling. So I don't know how much I like this. And then very like, I like this scene is so out of left field. They go for a romantic walk on the beach. There's very romantic music playing. Like, where the hell did this music come from? And it turns out there's one guy who produced, I think, all the music for this album, for this soundtrack. And she's like, "Why didn't you write me? Why didn't you call?" He's like, "I wanted to, but I couldn't." I'm thinking, you couldn't? Like, you didn't have a stamp? What's the issue here? He's like, "Look, give me a chance. I love you." And, he's like, "I went out west. I tried. I failed." What does going out west mean? I understand in the United States, going out west means going to Hollywood, trying to make it in the pictures. But I don't know what it means in Canada. Like, does that mean you're going to Vancouver to make it in the pictures? Because, Vancouver's a big hotbed for productions now. Was it in 1981? I have no idea. I didn't understand. They never explained what he goes and does out there, which again, maybe is because they didn't know, or maybe it's because they want to leave that as a mystery to make you wonder what's going on. But he's like, "I love you." She's like, "How am I supposed to know this, Jesse?" And then I thought, what the F? Isn't his name TJ? They call him TJ through the whole thing, and now all of a sudden his name is Jesse? Huh? And I thought maybe it was JT, but no, it was TJ the whole time. And he goes, "I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry." And that's why I was like, boom, I love that Canadian accent. Like, there's a radio guy around here who says, kind of talks like that, but he's from Wisconsin. So I wonder if it's very similar, because that's northern middle of America. And sorry, it's just, he's like, "I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry." And I don't know. It just made me smile. I just love it. So he goes, I guess they cut from there. Now he's at the bar, and he and Axel have a little confrontation at the bar. And he's like, "Where's Sarah?" He's like, "I don't know." He goes, "It's not my time to watch her." I'm like, dude, you were just with her, and now she's walking alone in the dark, all alone. And we get a jump scare because a light flashes, but it's just the sheriff making sure that she gets home. And he's like, thankfully, she's like, "Thanks." And she makes it home fine. Back at the bar, the bartender's like, "Yeah, Mabel died just the way I said she died. Heart attack." He calls the heart attack bullshit. He calls the kids assholes, and I love it. He's like, "You dumb assholes," and he calls the other kid an asshole. And it was just like, his name's Happy, which is a great name because he's never happy the entire time. And he might be my favorite character in any movie ever. And TJ has this idea that they should have a party at his dad's mine. And some of them are like, "Oh, I don't know if, that's a good idea." And they're like, "That'd be a great idea. We could have some fun." And the bartender's like, "You're not going there." And TJ's like, "Listen, it's my dad's mine. We're going to go there, and you're not going to say a thing, and keep your mouth shut." And Happy's like, he calls them assholes again. And then he gets angry. So he heads over to the mine himself to, I guess, teach them a lesson. So he breaks open a lock pretty easily. And he sets up this elaborate prank where he almost sets up like a mannequin that looks like a miner. He uses ropes and pulleys and the pickaxe. So when they open the door, a pickaxe raises. So he's like, "This is great." He opens it. The pickaxe raises. Like, "This is great." Opens it again. Pickaxe raises. "This is wonderful." He opens it again. He's like, "Yeah, this is great." He goes to walk away, and he's like, "You know what? I should look at my cool, elaborate prank for a fourth time." Opens the door, and it's the killer. Boom. Happy is dead. Happy is no longer happy, and he's no longer alive. Kill count number 3, and that's the end of Friday the 13th. And now we're at Saturday the 14th, also a film. It is now officially Valentine's Day. So the sheriff sees a heart decoration by his door, like it blows in the wind. And he looks at it. It's like, "What the hell is this?" I guess he thinks that something's up. I'm not sure what that means, but the young folks now all head to the mine, to the break room. So I guess we kind of cut through all of Saturday. We get right to Saturday night. And there is the kids are like ready to party. They're not in the mine. They're like in the giant, like, rec room. There's pool tables. There's a kitchen. There's bathrooms. So it must be like part of the mine, but that's where they must have their breaks. So a heart-shaped box arrives at the sheriff at the station, and he's like, "Oh man, you better go get me a cup of coffee while I open this." And this is when I wrote down, I think I love this movie. He opens it up, and he's like, "Oh my goodness gracious, oh boy!" And he opens it, and it's chocolate, delicious, delicious chocolate from Mabel. Which I'm like, well, how did Mabel get that to him? Like, did she just have it delivered? That doesn't make any sense to me. So at the party, one of the guys says, "Whoever parked out front, I want you to park in the back, put your red car." And I thought, was that a clue? It was not a clue. And I wrote that down, and I still said it, and I shouldn't have bothered. So I can't keep track. I can't keep track of what's going on at the party. All these different guys in this group. There's a couple people I remember their names, but that's from repetition of watching it. I see there's a Howard. There's the dude Hollis with the mustache. There's Axel and TJ, the two main guys. But then there's this other guy who I didn't know what his name was. I think it's Dave. He's like, because there's so many randos that it's like, all right, what's this guy up to? He heads to the back. He's like, "I'm hungry." He looks at some hot dogs in boiling water, and he bends over a little. I'm like, "Oh, dude, you're bending over way too much." All of a sudden, you see a hand on the back of his head in the boiling hot water. "You're going to die." No, no one said that, but he's dead. Kill count number 4. Back over at the sheriff's office, there's a bunch of loose stray dogs. Like they're barking. The sheriff's like, "What's going on out here?" Looks outside, and there's another heart-shaped box, but this one is bloody. Blood. And the dogs there were like, they seemed very wild. Like there's one dog like snapping. I'm like, "Is this dog properly trained?" And he opens up the box, and it says, "You didn't stop the party." And he's like, "What party?" The young cop now comes out, and he sees blood on the box, and he's like, oh man, he can't hide it anymore. But he still doesn't do much. I think he just heads over to the mine himself at first. Like, you think there'd be a lot involved here, but not yet. Not yet. So at the party, Axel is getting very handsy, and TJ wants him to back off. Then TJ wants him to go to the back with him, and they both want to back off. And then they start acting like a couple of jerks. The fight is on. They start tussling, and then the fight's over really quickly. Axel storms off, and Sarah says to TJ, "I just want you both to leave me alone." So right after that, the party just starts right back up. One dude is snorting beer. Everyone's having a grand old time. But outside, we see Axel just drinking and sulking by himself. And TJ, I think, is in the party. In the mine, or in one of the rooms, there's two of people head off to, they're not in the mine, but they're like in an area where I guess all their laundry is. I don't really know how this works. But they start, they're heavy petting with each other. And she's like, you know what we need? He's like, yes. And he pulls up a rubber. She's like, no, we need some beers. It's like, oh yeah, okay. So he runs off to leave her alone, to probably, die a terrible, terrible death. So back in the kitchen area, they're still making hot dogs in that water, and it's gross. And they go in and they find a cooked heart sitting there in there, like, ooh, what is this? But nobody freaks out just yet. And one of the guys pops in, he says something, he opens the freezer, and you see that the guy who was in the hot dog water just dead. No one notices them, and they close the freezer and they keep on going their way. And I'm thinking, we go back to the girl, and all these like jackets and stuff are hanging up, but you press these buttons and they drop down, and all of a sudden a bunch of showers turn on. And she's like, Mike, I think you're scaring me. If you're scaring me, it's working. I don't know if it was Mike. It wasn't Mike. It was someone else. Mike, there's so many like just random dudes in this that have no real character, and you just try to keep track of them. But all the clothes are falling down everywhere. And then all of a sudden, boom, a body flops down, and it's Happy, the dead guy Happy. And she's like, oh my God. Killer grabs her, carries her, and it looks like he's about to stick her on one of the shower pipes, but we cut away. The boyfriend comes back and he sees the shower running. He's like, oh yeah, we're going to do it in the shower. But he goes in there, and all of a sudden he just sees her like like frozen, like I guess stuck on the pipe. She got on the pipe. That sounds funny. And he just freaks out. You think he's dead, but we don't see anything yet. So we get to count 5. Now there's 5 people dead here. The sheriff, meanwhile, is driving towards the mine. You think that young cop would be like, hey, what's with the bloody bucks there, bud? But no one seems to worry yet. He gets a call and he's like, Sheriff, there's been an urgent call. Turn around. So he's like, okay, I guess I'll leave the mine. Heads back the other direction. So the party's kind of winding down. And 3 guys, that's Hollis, I want to say Mike, and Howard. I can't believe I remember those names. They want to go into the mine. And 3 of the girls are like, yeah, come, take me with you, us with you. One of them is the girl with the talked about her dress. That's Hollis's girlfriend. One of them, Sarah, the girl who the 2 guys are fighting over. And then the 3rd girl is hooking up with the other guy. And they're like, yeah, we can all go down in the mine. But they're like, I don't think so. That's not a good idea. TJ's like, no, we're not doing it. No women. You know the rules. No women in the mine. They're like, come on. We're just going to hang down there for a little while. And nobody's talking like this. This is just how I'm doing it right now. So they all jump in the car with Hollis. And I'm thinking Hollis is dead, but it doesn't happen yet. And away they go. They go down the carts deep into the mine. And I had to say, it looked both very fun and very scary. And the girls want a tour of the mine, and there's an abandoned part, and they hear rats in the background. And then one couple breaks off, and they're like, "We'll meet you in 10 minutes." I'm like, "Oh God," they're about to get all sexy, but it's like they're really about to get dead. But you never see you only see the outcome with them. Now, all of a sudden, we're at the hour point, okay? And I talked about the hour point being a plot point. Here we are again. Up in the party, a girl freaks out and runs out. And she's like, he's in there. He's in there. The boyfriend runs in. He's like, she's dead. She's dead. And Axel comes in and says, Dave is dead. Now, I don't know how Axel knows unless he went and looked in the freezer, or maybe another way he would know. But now they know that shit's going down, and they know that someone is killing them, and they all just assume that it's that Howard dude, whatever his name is. Harry. They assume Harry's come back to kill them all. So they're like, let's get the hell out of here. They're ready to leave. TJ tries to call 911. The phone lines are cut. And I said, everyone got the hell out of there. And Axel and TJ are going to work together to go into the mine and save Sarah and everyone else, thinking that Harry might be down there. And this is where I wrote, maybe it's Axel. I love that I don't know. So this is the point where I'm thinking, you know what? Axel was outside. Then he said Dave is dead. Now he's like, we need to go to the mine. And I'm just wondering if Axel is, at this point, we all know, but this is the point where I asked myself, is Axel the killer? So in the mine, Hollis is showing the other girls, and the other 2 girls, and a body comes down. He's bringing them on a little tour. And then this body flops down, but it's just Howard playing one of his pranks on them. And I'm thinking at any point the killer's going to pop out because we hear breathing. He's going to grab him, but doesn't happen yet. So those other 2 people, they're getting all kissy-kissy. We see them for 2 seconds. We see the killer smashing out lights. And up in the world, the young people show up. They get to the police station. The sheriff's there. He's back. So he went to the mine. He got called away to someone's house. Then he went back to the police station. He didn't go back to the mine. So he didn't make sense. But he goes to the police station, and the young people get there, and they're like, Harry Warden's back. He's at the mine. He's killing everybody. And the sheriff is like, whoa, okay, boom. Now he goes on his way to the mine. And I'm writing here, it has to be Harry Warden, right? I said it can't be the mayor. He wanted the sheriff to bring in more help. It isn't the sheriff. Now, I'm writing this as I'm thinking about it. And then I said, although we didn't see him down in the mine until Axel got down there with TJ, I'm leaning towards Axel. Maybe it was much more obvious for people seeing this movie, but I'm trying to guess what's going on here. So they get down into the mine. They split up. again, see? TJ finds them and he tells them Harry's back and Dave and Sylvia are dead. So they split up. This is like people just keep splitting up. So they split up again, and Hollis is like, I need to go find Michael and Harriet. So many names. He goes and finds them. He's like, oh, there they are and they're both dead. The people who were doing kissy kissy, they're now dead. So the kill count is now at 7, and it's about to get to 8 because Hollis, was he shot with a nail gun? I'm not really sure, but it's like, boom, boom. He stumbles out back to Howard and the girls, and he is dead. Okay, now we see the breathing killer. I think we see the killer coming, and Howard's like, come on, let's get out of here. Howard runs off. Axel now finds the girls. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it isn't Axel. Okay, but Patty's hysterical. Like, she's going crazy. She doesn't want to leave Hollis. She's like, we have to go. We have to go. Where are we going? We're almost, he's like, we're almost there. You're doing fine. Come on. I still don't trust Axel the way he was saying, we're almost there. You're doing fine. But then someone approaches, and there's almost a fight because Axel swings and hits, but it's TJ. Okay, good. TJ and Axel are now together with the girls. And I said, so maybe I'm wrong after all? Ooh, the suspense. So the sheriff shows up. And again, I said his hair is amazing. He is, he finally gets there. And the mine, to the elevator controls for the mine, they've been smashed. So down in the mine, they're like, oh, shit, it's been smashed. We have to climb. There's a ladder. So they start climbing up. They're climbing up. And I mean, they're climbing for a little too long, maybe. Patty's freaking the F out. TJ is either, at one point I thought TJ was smiling. I thought maybe he's just making a face like he's exhausted. But I'm like, is he smiling? Axel's going way too fast. And then a body drops. I wonder why Axel was going so fast. I wonder. We see this body drop. And it's hanging dead, and I believe it's Howard. And then the body hits the ground, like goes all the way down, boom, hits the ground. And they're like, come on, let's go down, let's go down. Again, maybe they're thinking the killer's up there, or maybe, we know what happened. But this is me wondering what's going on here now. But now I'm wondering why Axel was going up there faster. So the kill count's now at 9. They head down the ladders, and they're like, we have to head back to the rail cars. Axel's like, great. I know a shortcut. So they're heading someplace, but now Axel isn't with them. They're all walking, and then you hear like something break and something go, oh, and they look back. Axel's gone, and this railing's broken. They're like, oh, he must have fallen into the 60-foot deep water. And now I'm thinking, okay, Axel is the killer. He faked to go in here, and he's going to go off and kill some people. Oh, in the water, the bubble came up, and I swear it looked like the shape of a heart. And maybe it's in my head, but that's what I was thinking when I saw it. I watched it like 3 times. I'm like, did I just see that? So, the 3 of them now, it's TJ and the 2 girls. They're walking along, and TJ's like, all right, you 2 go that way. I'm going to go this way. What? He's like, I need to check something out. Hello, why would he leave them? So I think they left them to make you think that it could be TJ too. Like give you some more mystery because it doesn't make any other sense why he would leave them. So the 2 girls are walking along. The killer pops out. He goes, huzzah! He doesn't do that, but he takes his pickaxe, boom, slashes it right into Patty's belly. And now Pickaxe Patty is dead. Kill count number 10. Up on the surface, that's what we're calling it, the cavalry starts arriving. All these cops show up, and this Ghostbusters ambulance car shows up, and the sheriff's there, and they're all running in. Now, Sarah is all by herself. She's scared, and she's tired. She runs off, and she kind of walks off. She doesn't really run off. She kind of walks off. And then this slow hand comes up behind her, and it's TJ. Okay, why would he scare her? Why would he do that, this slow hand, if he wasn't a psycho? And his head's bloody. He's like, oh, it's okay. I just got hit. But again, what are they covering up here? Are they misdirecting us? What's going on here? So the mayor and the sheriff are outside. Again, the mayor's not in on it because he seemed like a reasonable fella. Didn't deserve any of this, except he wanted to have a dance for his town. And TJ and Sarah are like, come on, let's get to the carts. And boom, the killer just shows up and he's there. So they get the carts to work. TJ and Sarah jump into the carts, and so does the killer. And we get a really slow motion cart fight where like they're swinging slow, the cart's slow, but it looks kind of cool. Meanwhile, the cops are they're huffling, they're running down the hill, they're going up the hill. And at one point they jump off the cart and they're fighting on the ground. And then the cops see the empty carts come up and the sheriff finds blood on it. He's like, oh my goodness. Now the distance in timing wise, it looks like the cops are maybe 30 feet away from what everything's going on based on how long it took the cart to get there. But they're running down and the killer is now swinging at TJ and Sarah, and they go into this abandoned area and there's more slow motion fighting. And TJ gets knocked down and the killer very slowly takes on a knife and walks over and sits on top of TJ about to kill him. And then Sarah rips off the mask and it was Axel. Dun, dun, dun. And TJ says, why? And then we see a flashback of a young little boy, Axel, seeing his father getting brutally murdered by the original Harry Warden, blood going all over the young child. And while he was reliving that flashback, it gave TJ and Sarah enough time to fight off of him and escape the mine as the mine collapses. The cavalry arrives just in time, and he tells them, or TJ says, it wasn't Harry Warden. The sheriff's like, yeah, we know. We got the call. Harry died 5 years ago. Well, again, that's no reveal for us because we already know that it's Axel. So the fact that Harry died 5 years ago is inconsequential. If 5 minutes before, when they were on the surface, if they said, Sheriff, we just got the call about Harry Warden. Yeah, they have the records. He died 5 years ago. Then you would have been like, oh shit, it isn't Harry Warden. It has to be one of these guys down there. That would have just made it better. Except during the fight, then you would have seen that it was Axel. But maybe you wouldn't have. Maybe, but I feel like that reversal in the way that it was told would have been better. He's like, they're in there. He's in there. They all run in there and they start digging, and they're like, he's alive. And you see an arm stick out. Then Sarah runs back for some reason. She goes, I have to see him. But he's alive. And he gets away and he's like screaming. He's like, ah, and I don't know if his arm fell off. I don't know what's going on, but he's kind of in a shaft that he's able to get away. And he's like, Sarah, be my Bloody Valentine. And he's like, all of a sudden he's really creepy. And he says, Daddy gone away. Harry Warden made you pay. And then you hear like a laugh, ah, ha, ha, ha. And then the movie fades to black. And it was at this point that the laughter was heard and the most amazing thing happened in this movie that made me like this movie, love this movie, adore this movie. And that's when a song played. A folk song written specifically for this movie. A folk song called The Ballad of Harry Warden. And I have to tell you, I loved this song so much that I found a copy of it. I found the lyrics. And I want to take a moment to sing this song to you as my Valentine's Day gift to you. Happy Valentine's Day, lovers. This is the ballad of Harry Warden. But first we get the laugh. Amazing. Once upon a time, on a sad Valentine, in a place known as Hannigan Mine. Right then I'm thinking, this is the mine in the movie. A legend began. Every woman and man would always remember the time. And those who remained were never the same. You could see the fear in their eyes. I've only heard this like twice. Once every year, as the 14th draws near, there's a hush over all of the town. That doesn't rhyme at all.
Or the legend they say on a Valentine's Day is a curse that'll live on and on. And no one will know as the years come and go of the horror from a long time ago. 20 years came and went, and everyone spent the 14th in quiet regret. And those still alive know the secret survives in the darkness that looms in the night.
Doesn't have to rhyme.
For the legend they say on a Valentine's Day is a curse that'll live on and on. And no one will know as the years come and go of the horror from long time ago. In this little town, when the 14th comes round, there's a silence and fear in the air. Remember the morn that the legend was born, only shock and the horror was there. For the legend they say on a Valentine's Day is a curse that'll live on and on. And no one will know as the years come and go of the horror from long time ago. And no one will know as the years come and go of the horror from long time ago.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you're on YouTube, if you're on the podcast app. I really appreciate it. There will be, of course, another episode coming this Friday, back into the thick of Halloween. But until then, thanks so much for listening. As I said, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Geek Mentality. The show is on Twitter at /horror. Everything we do can be found at fansnotexperts.com, and go to youtube.com/@fansnotexperts.com to see every episode of Slash. And until Friday, my friends, I hope you have a nice romantic day, and remember, it's fun to be scared.
And no one will know as the years come and go of the horror from long time ago.
Fans Not Experts.